Hello everyone and welcome back to day 3 of my open qualifiers event. Um, Today I have, I believe, 1 out of 2, which isn't the best, but either way. So this game, I was playing someone who went by the name of Asher, I believe, some young kid, and he was around 1500, I believe, and I was just trying to win, of course. I wanted to win the event, so I was very confident, and I just wanted to pound him into the dirt. So after e4, I was very happy because I knew that I would be able to get into a position that I liked, because there are some lines in d4 that I don't have the best theory against, like d4 here. Let's say here. I'm trying to go for the nim, so my opponent plays something like knight f3. Maybe I can play bishop e4 check. I don't know. I don't like these positions as much. But after e4, I always play the very simple Caro Kann with c6, d5, and d4 and d5. My opponent opts for my favorite variation of it, which is e5. And yeah, of course I knew all the theory, and he actually got me into a line of which I knew the most theory out of at like any opening that I that I know, because I will look this up because I was losing to it a lot. He plays h4, the tall variation, and this is one of the this is I spent a good like couple hours just looking at all the lines in the tall variation because I was losing to it a lot, and eventually I found the way to play. And what I do here, instead of playing the main line is h5. I enjoy the move h6 more. I just like being a little more solid, a little less committal out of the opening. So I like h6 a little bit more. Just a personal preference. It's all pretty fine. My opponent goes g4. The best move here, bishop e4. Now f3 is very common. Now I have to bring my bishop back to h7. And now the move here is e6. You cannot take the pawn. If you take the pawn, the queen comes in after bishop takes here, and then the queen gets in here to this square, and it's actually a very terrible position. So you have to lose castling rights. So the best move is queen d6. I knew this. Now e7, king e7, and my opponent decides to play the move f4. This has been played against me a couple times, and this is where my theory ended. I knew here, the last move theory that I knew was that the best move is knight f6. What my opponent can do instead, what most people do here, is bishop e3. Bishop d3. And bishop d3, well, the issue is that it allows this. So maybe my opponent would stop that first. I'm going to play like, I forget what the line is here. I don't know. It's been a while. Either way, I knew that after f4, I play knight f6. And that after g5, I'm actually okay. But I didn't know why I was okay. And here, I figured out something pretty cool. And I realized that, of course, after hg, this move basically has to be played because otherwise he's going to take, and maybe I'll take back with the queen. I don't know. I don't want to allow that. He also has this move queen h5 in some lines if I don't take back, if I just do my knight. So I don't really want to allow any of that. And the best move is very simple. I have to play hg. And I realized that he has two lines. He has like basically two lines. He has fg and hg. Fg just seems stupid because you allow this, and that's crazy. That's crazy. You're probably losing there with white. Let's just show. After fg, oh yeah, skyrockets to -3. So that's a crazy line to play fg. And my opponent thought that after hg he was fine, but actually I have an insane sacrifice that I had to calculate over the board. And I'm very proud of this move. I have the move bishop takes c2, which is awesome. Bishop takes c2. The reason why it's crazy isn't because like, oh well, I see the tactic. Obviously after queen takes, you take the rook, and I mean you're up in exchange, right? Obviously. But what I had to realize is that after queen g2, and let's say my rook moves back, I can actually lose the knight and end up in a position where I have two pawns, I believe, yeah, two pawns and two pieces. No, yes, wait, two pawns and a rook for two pieces, and I evaluated that as interesting. I evaluated that as maybe I'm slightly better, but I knew that this was the way to play. I just believe that this was the way to play. So bishop c2. My opponent takes on c2. I take on h1. Of course, very reasonable. Low level engine says queen e6. Higher level engine, I have my computer at depth 22 right now, which is pretty high. Says rook h1. And now my opponent goes queen g2. And as you can see by the arrows, I missed something here. I completely missed the simple idea of queen e6 and queen e4 defending the rook. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I probably should have found this, in all honesty. Queen e6 is not the hardest move to find. It's actually the only move that gives black an advantage, because what ends up happening is that black is just going to be up an exchange in the end. After this move, queen e6, for example, let's say if bishop e2 is quite simple after queen e4, defending the rook, because this move isn't possible and this move isn't possible, and after queen takes, I get my knight out, right? And my knight isn't attacked anymore. So that doesn't make any sense. Let's say the most combative. I think this is the most combative. Actually, queen g4 would do that. So maybe king d2. But king d2 just allows knight e4. So as you can see, everything is pretty simple here, pretty cut and dry, and I'm basically just going to get my knight out and be up in exchange. I didn't see this. It's very sad, very unfortunate that I didn't see this. Oh, and one more line. After knight here, you might think that after queen e4, white is out of the woods, and he can just capture my knight. But after knight takes, I win his queen for free because his bishop is pinned to his king. Last level detail. I missed this move. I really should have seen it, but I ended up just moving my rook back to h8, which I thought was the best square for the rook, because I didn't see any way to save my knight, and I thought that, okay, this position is interesting. And after gf, of course, I don't know. Maybe I should have taken with the f pawn. I was thinking that this was the best move in my later game analysis, like when I analyzed the game with the person that I was playing. I concluded that gf was the best move and that my move was wrong. Basically, the idea is that my bishop gets out this way, and then my rook actually has room to breathe. But in the game I played ef. In reality, both gf and ef are bad. The best move is first queen e6 check, and let's say bishop e2, and then we can take with either pawn. I can understand. The reason why is because now you might think, okay, we're helping white develop. That seems ridiculous. But the reason why is because white doesn't want to develop here, and now his bishop is just pinned to his king, so it doesn't really have any future development. That's a little hard to see. In the game, I technically played the quote-unquote best way to play, if not for queen e6. Oh, actually, no, gf was better, but ef is what I played. My opponent goes knight c3 after some thought. Remember, this is an hour-long game, not 45-minute, so we both have a lot of time. And here I made a mistake. It's zeros on the eval bar, completely zeros, because I think I have some stupid way of continuing the game, some stupid way of equalizing. But I played knight d7 because I thought it was reasonable. I'm up a point of material, as you can see, and I thought that I should be playing for a win. So I'm going knight here, I'm putting my rook on e8, I'm going down here, and I want to bring my king over this way. That's my idea, right? My opponent goes bishop here. And now I go with another bad move. I start with my plan a little too early, and I play the move king e7, which is another mistake. King e7, obviously the reason is that I want to hide my king in the corner, and I didn't like that my opponent's bishop was looking towards this square, and I thought that was a little dangerous. Bishop d3 is actually quite a decent move. He's attacking this square, and if he gets a bishop there or a queen there, I could be in some serious trouble. If I go rook e8, for example, I thought that I was a little scared of let's say, maybe not knight b. Let's say knight c2. The reason why not knight b2 is because maybe I have some rook h8, rook h1 stuff in the future. Let's say knight c2. If I start moving my king, if I go king e7, I'm essentially sacking the exchange. Not really, but if I go here, this position just looks bad. I don't want to allow this at all. There's a fly in my room. That's annoying. I thought this move was just stupid, and I didn't want to allow it. So I go king e7 first. My opponent just simply develops bishop, bishop d2. I give a check on e6 for some reason. Now it doesn't really do anything, but my opponent decides to go king f1, which is one of the better moves. He has either knight c2 or king f2 as the best moves, but king f1 is third. And now I go here because he's threatening this move, rook here, and which would skewer my queen to my king, and I would be losing. Don't want to allow that. Rook here anyway. I go queen d6, blundering away the game, which is pretty awful. But I mean, I still have play. This isn't resignable per se. Like, I'd say resignable is when your opponent is when you don't have like any play. Like, there's maybe you're just like down a piece with no compensation. Maybe you're down a rook with no compensation. That's probably rook no compensation, probably resignable. A piece no compensation, maybe you can play that out. I'm not sure. My opponent plays this and blunders the game. Yeah. This move was pretty funny. He played this move. He played that move for whatever reason. I guess he played it because he was trying to put his queen here. Oh, wait, no. I know what he was telling me. He told me after the game why he played that move. Right. He wanted to play that move because he had this idea to bring his knight around up to this square, or to the e6 square, which would be even stronger. And I understand. If the knight got to the e6 square, it would be a behemoth. I would never be able to get it off. I'd probably just like flounder and die. Yeah, I understand that knight would be very strong, but the issue is that plan is quite slow, and it just allows me to do what I want. So now rook h2 tempo. My opponent decides to go combative and call my bluff and play the move queen g6, basically saying that if I take his bishop, he's going to check me here and win my rook in the corner, which is very reasonable idea. But silly him, I can take his bishop. I can take his bishop, and after queen e8, even if he wins the rook, he's actually getting mated with queen f5, and the king has no moves. If the knight blocks, of course, just here, king moves, check here, and mate, and very simple checkmate. And I'm just completely winning. My opponent goes rook e8, thinking that maybe he can run this way with the king, but it doesn't matter. King here, he takes my rook, and now it's simply checkmate after queen here. My opponent goes here and gets checkmated on f2. Now, it's not the best game. I have to admit, this is not the best game. I made a lot of mistakes in the opening. If I had found queen e6, queen e4 idea, like around the middle, like here, if I had found queen e6, queen e4, I would have probably won this game no sweat. But I missed it, which happens sometimes, happens to all of us. Yeah, hopefully I can circumvent that in the future, and yeah. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys found this instructive, all the above. You know, I might do like a tall opening thing, maybe like a Carl Khan opening thing. I don't know. I'm not really. The reason why I'm kind of a little bit, I'm kind of shying away from doing like opening things is because I'm not that good. Like I'm 2100. I mean, like that's pretty good, but you can get a lot better like from other people. So I don't really want to do an opening thing. If y'all want to see that, put that in the comments. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys found this instructive. Remember to like, subscribe, do all the normal stuff. Good evening and good night.